First things first, make sure the weapon is cleared, magazine is empty, breech is clear. The Beretta 92 FS is a double single-action semi-auto pistol that employs an open slide, short recoil, delayed locking block system. I personally carried a weapon similar to this 3x tie rack. It was the M9 Beretta. This one is very similar, so I'm very comfortable with it. So field stripping this firearm is very easy. After you guarantee the firearm is clear, you just simply lock the slide back, the disassembly latch, bring it into the down position, bring the slide forward, pull the trigger, and you have the frame disconnected. It's the furthest you go on the frame when you're field stripping. Take out the recoil spring. You can then remove the recoil rod. The M9 had a metal one. This 92 FS originally came with a plastic guide rod. I have upgraded it to metal to be similar to the M9 that I carried. Then the barrel can come out. You're left with the slide. This still has the safety mechanism and the firing pin internal. You will not disassemble those when you're field stripping. As far as the barrel goes, this is as far as you take it down in the field stripping. You have the barrel, you have the locking block plunger, and then the plunger retaining pin. This firearm is very robust, but you never clean it. You're going to get wear and tear on pieces, carbon buildup. There'll be things that fail on it just from firing it. It's a routine thing. All things are bound to wear out. This guide rod, for instance, this was the first thing I replaced. I hadn't even fired this weapon and I replaced this just because of my experience with the M9 that's similar to this, and also my knowledge from other individuals that have owned this gun that I know personally that this broke on them. And you're firing, you're at the range or out in the field, and this breaks, you might be completely decommissioned the firearm until you can replace it. And with a customer, it's something they might not know. I mean, there's a lot of new gun buyers out there that have never owned a firearm before, and a recommendation I would give them if they were buying this firearm from me would be to replace that. I mean, you're adding a little bit of weight, but in the long run, firearm will be more reliable. Some things that could be challenging as a gunsmith is somebody brings you a firearm and maybe they fired thousands of rounds through it and never cleaned it due to the fact they just didn't know. Especially with some internal components. They get carbon buildup. The customer could come in, say, my gun is always jamming. I don't know why, and you take it apart and you just find tons of carbon buildup inside of it, and that could also lead to something breaking. The other thing is too much carbon buildup along the area in here, around the magazine weld, around the hammer, and especially around the firing pin. You can potentially start to have jam issues. Somebody that's novice to firearms might not know that. You get this plunger and it could potentially get stuck if there's too much carbon around it, and you're not going to be able to function the firearm correctly. So these are all things that a novice gun owner that is new to the firearm hobby, or just home protection, not necessarily a hobby, they will definitely need to be educated. And if they feel that you belittle them when you're trying to tell them something, there could be questions out there that they need to know that they're not asking. So it's always good to keep a open dialogue with any customer and treat them like any individual. No question is wrong.